Hey y'all, we back for another review on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Thailand. All right, now I'm really enjoying it. Okay, I'm on episode 2 at this time, so I'm bringing you guys my reviews as we go. Okay, they already dropped 3 episodes over there on Peacock, so y'all check it out. Let me know what you guys are thinking. I know I did see a few people saying they weren't gonna watch it because Gizelle was in it. Had some people say they weren't interested because of Porsha, but I think that is still entertaining. So if you get a chance, just at least give it episode 1. Just give it episode 1, maybe 2, and then tell me what you think, okay? But in the meantime, let's go ahead and hop on into it for the people that may have been checking it out, okay? Now, y'all know on the first episode we ended with Candiace and Porsha pretty much having like a difference of understanding when it came down to, the reasons why Miss Candiace comes for and has, came for and continues to come for Miss Ashley Darby. So there was kind of like a misunderstanding to where Porsha ended up saying that Candiace is just a mean bitch. And I'm just kind of like, well, Porsha, we can say that for all housewives because when somebody comes for y'all, y'all give them the business right back. It's only fair because you don't want nobody to feel like they got one up on you. So it is what it is, okay? Now, in this episode 2, Candiace speaks on not being really shocked by the fact that Porsha was so team Monique, okay? Because at one point they were really cool and close. Now, I don't know where their friendship is now. I'm sure they're cool, but I know I saw pictures of Porsha and Monique going on like a trip and stuff together. So because Miss Porsha was more closer to Monique, she felt that she would sit up there and drag Candiace when she said something like, oh, she's suing Monique so that she could pay for that house, which is so funny because in this episode, and these were the rumors that Miss Porsha was hearing, right? So now when Candiace brings up the rumors that she's been hearing about Porsha, Porsha gets a little flustered and says that Candiace is really bothered by her. And I'm like, nah, it seems like it's the other way around. She's only getting you back. It's what it seems like. The same way that you were over there coming for her, it's her turn now. All right. So let's keep going. All right. Now, Porsha was going hard on Candiace at the time. At that time, and I already talked about that. And Candiace says that Porsha still has a problem with her based on how things went like the night before, or whatever the case was. All right. So Leah asked Alexia about the tea on her husband because here's the thing: if you ain't been watching Real Housewives of Miami, and I slick fell off just a little bit, okay, but this past season was really good, I must say. But Alexia, one of the cast members of Real Housewives of Miami, she was married to this man that a lot of people believe to be gay and some would say bisexual, right? And the rumor was that he ended up dying while he was in the middle of having sex with one of his lovers, okay? And she, Leah asked her about that. And I'm with Leah. Like I like the fact that Leah went to Alexia and she asked her whatever she wanted to ask her instead of sitting up there and just, talking about it, not getting clarity on it and continuing to spread rumors. So I like that she went to her like, girl, so what's up with this? Like tell me about that, right? So the story was that he died having sex with the lover. Now when you ask Alexia about it, she denies it. She said she did have a sit down with that lover that attended that funeral, that left that contact number and said if ever she want to talk, let's talk, right? And Alexia says the only reason she did that was because that was a man. Now, if that was a woman, she said she don't think she would have been able to sit down with nobody, okay? So she sat down with this guy, learned that that was not indeed true. But what was interesting to me was that she went to the confessional. And when she went to the confessional, she says that's a beautiful way for a person to die, which is, engaging in sex with somebody that they love. She says, I want to die that way too. It was the TOO for me that made me be like, so which one is it? Did he die that way or did he not die that way? Because you told Leah one thing, but then when you get in the confessional, it sounds like you confirming that that's what happened. So I don't know which way to take you, Alexia. It's your business. You're going to do what you want to do anyway, because that's just how you is, all right? But let's keep going. What else ended up happening with these ladies? They go to this elephant park, which was so dope. Like I would have went. I wonder if I would have been freaking out. Like looking at it, because I really like animals, right? So looking at it, I would jump to it. But once I got there, I feel like I would have been intimidated because I'm so little and the elephants are so huge. I probably would have been a bit intimidated. You feel what I'm saying, girl? I would have been a little scared. But anywho, they go there, they're given these rules of what they can and cannot do when it comes to the elephants and stuff. But the part I really want to get to when they were out there was the fact that Porsha took some doggone mud, because what they said is get the mud and rub it on the elephants because it like helps with their skin, like it cools them off or something like that. So when they digging for mud, Porsha decided to take some mud and throw it on Gizelle, and it was hilarious because everybody tried to act like they didn't know who did it. But I cannot remember who was standing right there next to Porsha. I feel like it was Marysol, but do not quote me on that. She saw exactly who did it. Why everybody's like, who did that? Who did that? Right? But I love that she threw that on Gizelle. So next thing you know, she started throwing it on other ladies, and they start throwing it back and all of that. And I'm like, girl, I don't know why this mud look like SHI, right? Well, tell me why they showed us pictures of the elephants over there pooping, child. And the poop, I kid you no lie, looks just like the mud that they were over there slinging. So then Porsha turns around and says something about, I don't know if somebody said something to her about shit or if she said it, but she was just like, this is not mud, girl. This is oh no, somebody said it smells like SHI. And then Porsha said, because it is SHI. It is. Like, this ain't no mud. This is SHI. So I feel like Porsha was joking, but girl, I swear that mud looked just like what came out their ass. And if they drop that in the water, then girl, y'all probably have some shit on your hands. And y'all out there throwing it on each other. But they did go and rinse their bodies off in the little water area. But girl, I ain't see no soap or nothing. Then they went to go eat. So I was like, I mean, girl, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it probably was some shit, girl. But y'all was having fun anyway, girl. Y'all out there in Thailand, okay? I guess any shit goes out there in Thailand, but let's keep going, okay? Now they get to the table. They trying to crack open some wine, some different liqueur bottles, Henny, whatever. Porsha sitting up there talking about she finna open it up with her mouth. So I'm over here like, Porsha really finna open this thing up with her mouth, like using her mouth to suck out the corkscrew? Girl, I know you lying. I know you lying. And so she was joking around, you know what I'm saying? But she had to let the ladies know how she really got that ring, okay? Girl, I don't care what nobody say. I do not believe Porsha and Simon be hunching on each other like that. Y'all not gonna make me believe it. Porsha even said when somebody asked them what was something they could do without, I believe Porsha said penetration was something that she could do without. Well, I believe that. I really, when she said that, I was like, girl, yeah, because I feel like, yeah. Like Mia's husband don't get it in like that. I feel like Simon and Porsha don't get it in like that. But that ain't none of my business, girl. I'm just going off of what Porsha them said, okay? Now, Leah asked a good question. She asked all of the housewives, like, what's the best thing about being a housewife and what's the worst thing about being a housewife? So Candiace goes first. And she says the worst thing is constantly being, first of all, she loves being the second black franchise out of all of them, okay? And that reminds me, Andy, can we please get another one? You got a lot of white ones or non-black ones, okay? You got what, New York, whatever they got going on, New Jersey, Orange County, Beverly Hills. I feel like you had one that was called Dallas, Real Housewives of Dallas at one point, and I'm sure I'm missing some others that's been out here. Real Housewives Salt Lake City, Real Housewives Miami. Like, can we get another all black franchise? Who the fuck is the producers? We need to have a conversation. Get your together. Where is Real Housewives of Chicago? Matter of fact, we don't need that. Give us Real Housewives of Las Vegas. But give us some black women though. Some black women that's out there doing a fucking thing out there in Las Vegas. Somewhere in Las Vegas. I think I could do Real Housewives of Las Vegas. I'm trying to think of where else. I think Las Vegas would be a really good one. Real Housewives of Las Vegas, Real Housewives, was there a Real Housewives of Charlotte? I don't know, but give us that one. Real Housewives of Las Vegas with an all black cast. Let's get that to work on that. Work on that. Get that together right now. All right. So, anywho, Candiace says that, outside of that, being the second, that's the great thing. She says the worst part is constantly being humbled on social media. Gizelle says Candiace pretty much brings all of that on herself. And Candiace said, and then she also says in the confessional that Candiace doesn't know why she gets trolled on social media. Well, and she brought it on herself or whatever. And I'm like, number one, I never heard Candiace say that. Maybe they edited that part out where Candiace doesn't understand why she gets trolled. But let's be very honest, Gizelle. Let's not act like it didn't matter. Like before Candiace, I feel like before she even started really going ham on social media with you birds, I feel like y'all definitely was coming for that lady. Okay? definitely over there staying in her inbox saying the most craziest shit to her. Like if you just read some of like her mentions or whatever, just type her name in and see the shit people say unwarranted. It's like, yeah, and when she fired back at y'all, she's the one in the wrong because she's on the show. She's supposed to have a certain type of class or whatever the case. Girl, fuck y'all. Okay, I'm gonna say, if you gonna say what you want to say, I'm gonna say what I want to say. Then we just gonna be saying what we want to say. Period. Okay. So yeah, that's how I feel. So Gizelle ends up calling Candiace a troll in so many words. She's like, girl, you over there talking about people trolling you when you are the troll. I was like, oh wow, that's where we're going with it, Gizelle. Is that where we're going with it? Just because she's choosing to respond and you're a person that does not really respond to anything, girl, you're not even on a Twitter. You got Twitter, but you're not even on there for real. So I guess Porsha. Let's get to Porsha because I can't really remember what everybody else was talking about. I think Whitney said the good and bad thing for her was growth, like growth and developing and everything. Like it's a gift and a curse basically with being a housewife. Porsha thinks the best part is the sisterhood, but the worst part for her was like because she's so raw and honest about her life. You know, one of the examples she used was her postpartum and how she was so depressed and just being so open and vulnerable with that. Like, yeah, it's good for the fans, but ain't no telling where it puts her mind at once she has to go back and rewatch, you know, and kind of relive everything that was already, you know, previously recorded about her. Marysol talks about her mom and how she loves her mom very much and she was glad her mom got the opportunity to be on the show. But at the same time, because her mom was unable to get, you know, plastic surgery like she wanted due to her not being able to take anesthesia or something, she started doing fillers and she started to overdo the filler so much so that her face began to be deformed. And from that, she was always ashamed of her mom's face and what other people had to say. And because of that, she kind of did not want her on the show, right? So she kind of had to battle with that. You know, I believe she lost her mom a few years ago. So I'm sure that's something that may have bothered her and made her wish that she would have had her on the show more than what she did. But so yeah, there's that. Then you got Leah. Leah tells her piece, but she didn't really go into the upsides of it. She just pretty much wanted to air out the producers. At least that's how I took it. And I'm like, Leah, so you're not trying to get back on Housewives for another season, huh? Because that's what it seems like. Leah says that she was going through a lot when her the last season that she had and how everybody was coming down on her. And really, I think, yeah, Leah did I think she did Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Ex-Wives Club. I really think. I could be wrong. But anywho, Leah talks about how her grandmother was passing away and how none of the producers tried to excuse her or anything. So she basically felt like she didn't have the support of the producers. And she was just, you know, going through a lot at that time. And it didn't seem like none of her cast members really had her back. So that was one of the downsides that she mentioned. But everybody else don't really believe nothing she's talking about because they feel like based on them and their show, they've never had a producer withhold them from getting to their family. And Gizelle's like, you got to take accountability for your own SHI instead of putting it off on everybody else. And I'm over here like, girl, I can't wait till you listen to your own words. Okay? All right, girl, I can't wait till you do that. But anywho, all of that happened, and later on, as the ladies are, you know, eating it up, no, actually, that was at night. So they're leaving, and Candiace decides to open up to, I believe it was Heather, Alexia, and Leah. She ended up opening up about she and Chris and how they were not in a good place. Okay, she says that they're not in a good place because they're both working a lot. Okay, y'all know she's trying to get her acting, music career, all of that up off the ground. First of all, I saw a clip of Candiace singing the national anthem at the Clippers game, and I feel like she could have sung one at a different game, but definitely at the Clippers, and she did a great job, I have to say. Okay, she did a really, really, really good job. So shout out to her for that. I love to see that she's continuing to push her career outside of Housewives, and I feel like she's the only housewife on Potomac that I'm seeing do that. Yeah, I'm not really seeing too many other people. I'm surprised she hasn't booked like Dancing with the Stars yet, or she hasn't booked what's the other one that Candy won? Mask Singer. I'm surprised she hasn't booked some other shows. Maybe they're calling for her, but she doesn't have like the capacity within her schedule. But I wouldn't mind seeing her on those other shows as well. But she talks about how before she came to Thailand, she and Chris got into this huge argument, and so much so that it seemed like they were yelling divorce at each other. According to Miss Candiace now, girl, I would hope that's not the case, but she's saying that it ain't got nothing to do with no allegations of what Miss Gizelle brought brought to the front or none of that. It's about them not having the proper time for each other, according to Candiace. Okay, so that's what's been going on with she and Chris. She feels like he's had a identity crisis trying to figure himself out because he's so used to working, and the past year or however long has been or whenever they filmed this around that time had been the longest time he's gone, I guess, without having a job. And yeah, I think that's taking a toll on him. She's being super busy, so they got a whole lot going on that they have to figure out. But I would hate to see it come to that, girl. Yikes. What else happened? Girl, we see Whitney tell Heather that she need to sew her hair in. And I said, girl, what? You need her to do who? So next thing you know, girl, they cut to Heather over there sewing Whitney hair in. And I hollered because for me, watching the other franchises, I have not seen no white lady sewing no other white lady hair in on none of Bravo verse. Okay. Now, I feel like I may not have necessarily saw that on Real Housewives of Atlanta, but I'm sure we saw the ladies getting their hair done, so we already knew what it was. We'll see them trying on wigs and stuff, but I don't think I've ever seen that. And I'm over here looking like, girl, you really sewing her weave in, girl? Ooh, Whitney, that hair's thin. But anyway, let's keep going. So Whitney and Heather pretty much talk about their breakup because Heather really was torn and she really took it as a breakup from Whitney, right? Like everything is over. That's how she took it. But Whitney was like, girl, no. I just needed to get some space. I needed to fall back from you. Like you had your stuff going on. I had my stuff going on, girl. I needed to fall back, right? So Heather was telling her that she was confused on why Whitney was so focused on being so close to Lisa when Lisa was disrespectful to her. And Lisa Barlow is one of the cast members of Real Housewives Salt Lake City. Listen, Lisa was hella disrespectful to Whitney. Like hella, that little clip that they showed talking about when when Lisa referred to Whitney as this, girl, no. She thinks that lady's an airhead. Like, yeah, like Lisa has dogged the fuck out of Whitney and definitely dogged out Heather's ass. But then Whitney says the only reason why she did that was for the show, was to help the show in so many words. Like, I don't know what she meant by that. But she did it for the show, basically. And Heather's like, I don't give a damn what you did for the show. At the end of the day, whatever you trying to do for the show shouldn't, overshadow the relationship you got with me, because our relationship should be more valuable than that. For you to turn your back on me, a person that's always had your back, for a BIT that was over there stabbing you in your back and calling you out your name and dragging the fuck out you, absolutely not. So I am like on Heather's side with this. I am, but we'll see what's gonna happen with their friendship. I feel like Whitney saying slick comments about Heather in the confessional and to other people is definitely not gonna be helpful for the relationship at all. But Heather gives me the type of person that just wants everybody to be friends with her and doesn't want to have any problems. That even if Whitney does talk about her like a dog or say whatever, she's still gonna excuse it and continue to be her friend, just like she did with Jen Shaw when Jen Shaw was disrespectful as fuck. But anyway, let's keep going. So they decide that they're going to have like a lady boy party. And lady boy is what they refer to men in drag out there in Thailand. So it's called lady boy. So we get to the lady boy dinner party, whatever they're having. And Candiace decides that she's going to give out a few names, okay? The first person she calls to the front is Gizelle. And her name is called She Need a Man. I love that. That's her name, Shanita Man. Shanita Man. I love that. Now, Candiace gave herself the name of Petty LaBelle. I don't know why she gave herself the name Petty LaBelle, but I don't know. I think she should have went with something else that was, I don't know what other name she could have went with, but I'm sure she could have chosen better. Gizelle said she would have gave her Crybaby Candiace or some stupid shit like that. And I'm like, well, then if she would have gave you Katie Cankles, then what you would have did with that? Like, girl, but anyway. It is what it is. Alexia gets Havana White. You have Marysol getting Crystal Ball, and she connected it back to the passing of her mom and all of that. Heather and Whitney get Snow Right and Snow Wrong, and Snow Wrong is Whitney. Yikes. I think that name could have been a bit better. Leah gets Judyism. That's her first and last one. And Porsha, similar to what's her name? Gizelle, she gets Shateka Man. Shateka Man. Girl, I didn't like the name. She could have came up with a better one for Porsha, and the meaning still be the same. Okay. Now Porsha says that she said, how can I take a man? Could I take a man if he was already free? Now that's what Porsha is saying. He was already free. Porsha was pissed at the name that Miss Candiace gave her, and I think she was more pissed at the narrative that's continuing to go around about her stealing somebody's man. All right. She says that whatever the name was that Candiace gave her, she said it was late, it was tired, and she's bored. That's what Porsha said. I'm like, girl, you them sound like some Nene reads right there. That sound like something Nene would say. So then Gizelle gets in the confessional trying to, clear some things up for her good friend Porsha. And it's like, Gizelle, you can't say nothing or speak nothing on behalf of Porsha. We rather hear from Porsha, and even then we still not gonna believe it, okay? But just let her do it, all right? So she goes in and she tries to like explain the story of what happened and how Fallon got pregnant by somebody else, and then left, and this and that and all of that, and we'll get to that. But the gag for me was Gizelle and Porsha doing joint confessionals because they felt the way about Miss Candiace, girl. But y'all sitting up there talking about Candiace was the one bothered and pressed. Oh, okay then. Well, so let's get to so Candiace seeks advice from the ladies about marriage and being on television and it affecting your relationship. And out of all of the women there and those that might be in a relationship successfully, Miss Gizelle decided to come to the front and give her that advice. And she says that you pretty much got to take the good with the bad. That's what comes with the territory. Okay. Now, Candiace and Porsha talk after that because Candiace wants to know more about the situation with she and Simon. So Porsha, or at least Porsha tells her, well, listen, I want to hear the rumors that you say you know. You tell me. So Candiace tells her about the rumors that she heard, and Porsha is immediately bothered. Okay. And I just feel like it's Candiace getting her one up on your ass. You was over there listening to them rumors and saying whatever you wanted to say when it came to the Monique situation. And now it's her turn to do it to you, but it's giving Melody Ho. I'm in your face today. So I'm asking you these questions directly, okay? Porsha says that she knew him already when he came on the show, but she didn't really place him at that time, okay? Later on was when she realized, like, oh, that's such and such. Okay, cool. Now, according to Gizelle, Fallon got pregnant, and this is also according to Simon. Fallon got pregnant. She was seeing Jalen, which was her assistant, ended up getting pregnant or whatever, and that's when they ended up breaking up. I do not believe that, okay? Now, yes, Fallon definitely got pregnant before they were divorced. However, that timeline, I believe Fallon got pregnant around that March. I just want people to explain the whole February, because I think that's when Simon came out about the February. Remember, Fallon said that he left for like a whole month or however long he was gone. He didn't take her. And I think he kind of mentioned that too, but he was still kind of watching on the cameras and stuff like that. And that's where it came to his head that those two was messing around with each other. That's what he said, but the photos he dropped didn't show anything. All it did was show both of them coming from the club, but it didn't show that they were actually engaged in some activity. Where was the cameras from inside the house versus outside? But either way it go. Also, the thing that wasn't really making sense to me was what about the alleged trip and the photos from when Porsha went on the trip with Simon and Shamia and them or whatever back in that January? And then what about Porsha hanging out with the man in the fall of 2021 before we even got to 2022 to hear all of the bullshit that happened, okay? Or was that, yeah, I think that was right. 2020, 2021 coming into 2022, something like that. Or was it 2020 coming into 2021? Whatever the time frame was, it was that fall, when the fall from the year prior, when they were saying that Porsha was hanging out with Simon or whatever at whatever hotel. Then in January, they were saying, oh, they went on a trip together out the country or whatever. Next thing you know, in that March, that's when we heard about the whole breakup or whatever. So it was just a lot of things like all over the place that's not, still don't make sense to me to this day. But what I believe for myself is that they definitely had marital issues. They weren't yet set on divorce, and I believe that Simon was out there doing his thing and Fallon was out there doing her thing. That's what I think was likely going on. And let us not forget that there was a little snow bunny that Simon was messing with before he even got to Miss Porsha, or either he was messing with that snow bunny while he was with Miss Porsha. And shortly after that, it was an engagement. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was kicking it with Porsha before the time frame of what they saying. He got with that snow bunny. And when that stuff happened, Porsha probably said, "Oh, you're not going to sit up here and play me. Okay, so you're going to have to really put a ring on it, because I ain't trying to see you out here with no other woman. I already know about the Fallon situation, but what you're not going to do is play with me with this snow bunny. So you need to go ahead and lock this bunny up, okay? Lock me down." But I think everybody did a bit of lying in that overall situation. But either way, doesn't matter. It's Porsha Guabadia now, and Jalen and Fallon not even together. Yes, they have a beautiful little girl. They miscarried a daughter, from my understanding, early January, and girl, by February they weren't even together. So it don't even matter, honey. What else is going on? I feel like that could have been it. Porsha says that she had him email her the divorce papers, but it wasn't finalized. And that's what I'm saying. She had him email her the divorce papers, but I personally believe that they was already kicking it prior to. Right? And I feel like when that snow bunny popped out, that's when Porsha was like, "Listen, you're not finna sit up here and play on my top. Like, we're gonna have to make some things like listen, official around here, because I done got played enough by Dennis. I'm not gonna get played by you too. Hello." So that's what it was given. But she also says that the truth will always trump a rumor. No, not necessarily. See, you think that you are in the clear because old girl ended up having a baby. That don't put you in no clear, girl. That just because, like, two things can still be true. Just because she sat up there and had that baby doesn't mean that you wasn't already messing with her man. Like, girl, what? So, like, that don't mean, you think that absolves you? It doesn't. But either way it goes, no, truth does not always outstand the rumor. Sometimes the rumors continue to go on and on, my friend. Some people start to singing it, not knowing what it was, girl, and they'll continue singing it forever just because, okay? So I want you to know it can be the song that doesn't end as you see. It still is the song that doesn't end on your part, all right? Regardless if you guys are married. But congratulations, though. And then finally, we're going to see Leah and Marysol kind of get into some little issues. They're going to be over there beefing a little bit based on the things Leah had to say about Alexia and how she tells her stories and stuff. And Leah, you have been throwing a little shade, girl. So we'll see if she going to keep it a buck or if she ain't, okay? But that's all I got for episode 2 of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Thailand. I want you guys to go ahead and hop in the comments. Let me know how you feeling it, okay? Let me know your thoughts about everything that really took place on this episode. I think they got a good cast, child. These ladies are a complete mess, all right? I'm Jamie, that's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos, or follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JamiThatsMe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.